Welcome everybody to the Steve and Bobby Show. My name is Steve Williams and I'm here with Bobby Bleated like we are every single week. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to Mad Talk TV studios here in the central part of Fresno, California. What is going on, Bobby?
Man, I don't know what's going on. We're here to let Steve tell us what's going on today.
Bobby been busy all week.
Oh my gosh,
it's been like busy. You got a day job.
Oh, it has been busy working with the vaccine. So I'm glad that you brought out the vaccine today.
Yeah.
A little story about the vaccine. We can get down and dirty about that thing right there. But there's a lot of other stuff
that's going on. Yeah. So everybody that's out there that understands what's going on, especially in dealing with trying to get DC statehood, which is a big deal, okay? We've talked about this several times, especially about Puerto Rico trying to get statehood. We've been talking about Guam trying to get statehood. Even American Samoa has been tossed in there as well. Well, the big thing right now is Maryland, or Washington, D.C., getting its statehood. It's already passed the House. They did I think through the House. According to what's being said is that Chuck Schumer wants to hold off to see if they can try to remove the filibuster. And so hold this kind of like the way Mitch McConnell did, hold the vote on his desk until, I don't see us, Manchin ain't gonna move and neither is Sinema out of Arizona, neither of them are probably gonna move on that. But if he can get somebody to move into to just do a simple majority, DC has a very possibility of being a state. But in these arguments, of course, in the House, there were arguments in the House as well, right? Now, states representative, congressional leaders don't have a vote. Is that right? I think that's the way that works.
I'm not sure actually on that one.
I think that's the way it works. It's the same thing the way Puerto Rico and American Samoa. They have reps that go and speak and voice their concerns, but they don't have an actual vote on any policy or anything that's consistent with the United States. Usually that's how that works. There's a representative that speaks in the House. Right. There's senators that speak, for their, for whatever it is, whether it's Puerto Rico or whatever, but they don't have an actual vote. So when this was in the House, there was some pretty nice little arguments going on. So I want you guys to take a listen. And when you listen to what we're about to show you right now, of course, this is Cotton, Tom Cotton. If y'all don't remember Cotton, he's the one that wrote the letter to when he was a congressional leader when Obama was president, to the Iranian Ayatollah and told him, don't listen to what Obama says, even though he's president. That Tom Cotton said, I want you to listen to what he says and what it kind of sounds like in reference to something back in 1865. It's almost kind of the same language. Take a listen.
Even putting aside these practical and constitutional problems with D.C. statehood, though, we return to a basic truth. Washington is a city with all the characteristics of a city, not a state. Washington doesn't have the size or diversity of interest of even the smallest of the 50 states. Washington also doesn't have the diversity of interest and financial independence that Madison explained were necessary for a well-functioning state. Yes, Wyoming is smaller than Washington by population, but it has 3 times as many workers in mining, logging, and construction, and 10 times as many workers in manufacturing. In other words, Wyoming is a well-rounded, working-class state. But what vital industries would the new state of Washington represent? Lobbying? Bureaucracy? Give me a break. By far, the largest group of workers in the city are bureaucrats and other white-collar professionals. This state would be nothing more than an appendage of the federal government, not separate from the government, as a state ought to be.
Hold on. No, we're in 2021, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was just making sure. Because those are the arguments they were giving back to some of the northern states and some of the advancements of some of these states out here. Missouri, the One-Fifth Compromise, right? You had, what was the other one? All these different types of wording and language and lingo, like Maryland, they're not a working class, Wyoming got working class, even though there's more in Maryland. Now, I know you might be kind of jumpy on this one because we kind of discussed this. Where do you fall on this one?
Well, I want us to watch that next video.
You want to watch the next one?
And then we can get into it. But I'm going to tell you,
okay.
What he did right there was kind of just say, why do we need him? Right?
Yeah.
Well, they're not vital.
Yeah.
The politicians and representatives are not vital to this country, and the work around it is not vital. But in all honesty, that is an unfair representation of what is in Washington, D.C., right?
Yeah.
The argument that he's making, I don't like it so much. Yeah. There's an argument to be made, but hey.
And I think what the big thing here, especially with the pros and cons with this really quick, is that you have the one side who wants statehood stating, hey, look, Washington, D.C. is bigger than Wyoming. That's a big fight, right? I mean, it is. It's a bigger state. It's a bigger population base than the state of Wyoming. Tom Cotton, as you heard right now, said it doesn't have no vital resources. The only thing it really produces is basically what he's saying is politicians, right? That's basically what he said, right? Which isn't true at all. I mean, yes, there's a large Washington, D.C. is a big state, very well rounded state, does a lot of different stuff, but it's irrelevant. I want you to listen to what Representative Mondaire Jones of D.C., who is the representative of Washington, D.C., who's on the other side of this issue. Take a listen.
Mr. Speaker, I have had enough of my colleagues' racist insinuations that somehow the people of Washington, D.C. are incapable or even unworthy of our democracy. One Senate Republican said that D.C. wouldn't be a, quote, well-rounded working class state. I had no idea there were so many syllables in the word white. One of my House Republican colleagues said that D.C. shouldn't be a state because the district doesn't have a landfill. My goodness, with all the racist trash my colleagues have brought to this debate, I can see why they're worried about having a place to put it. The truth is, there is no good faith argument for disenfranchising over 700,000 people, Mr. Speaker, most of whom are people of color.
I love the comedy that comes out of that thing.
Hey,
Say
by the way, real quick,
stupid things come back.
let's tell them, we keep forgetting. Don't give us a call.
Don't give us a
tell us
call.
what you think. Give us a call. Tell us what you think. Come on and call us in at 559-494-2827
Yeah.
and let us know what's on your mind.
Now
So
you
anyway,
see
go
two
ahead.
sides of the argument from these folks. Come in. I want to know what you think. We want to know what you think here. Join in on this conversation. But I mean, in all honest truth, D.C. becoming a state, they have every right to try, right? The group there, the people there do, and from a Democrat perspective, obviously I can see the huge advantage that we could have by doing this. But then there comes this thing in my mind. It's like, why not Guam? Why not Puerto Rico? Right? Why not Guam? Why not Puerto Rico? Why are they not a state? Why are they voiceless in the same things that D.C. is trying to fight for? What's going on? There's no electoral college. They got no real say. You vote, but
Well, to be fair with Puerto Rico, they have voted consistently within the states to remain an independent nation. They have voted. Actually, it got the closest this past, actually when Trump was in office, it got really close to being where the citizens were voting to be an actual state. But the citizens, as of now, it's like 51-49 or something like that. It's really close, really close. So usually but Guam, they always want to be a state. American Samoa always want the Caribbeans. We got a bunch of Caribbean islands, tons of them. That could be, not a ton of states. You could masses them up.
an area,
Yeah.
a group, yeah. It doesn't have to
Group
be
the
town.
islands like we do Hawaii.
So there's some things in there that, remember, be careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah.
Be careful what you ask for, and that's the thing, because, California, people have always proposed for this to be, separated in states, and the way the Central Valley looks right now, if you kind of turn that to a state, then you're going to add 2 more seats to the other side, in a sense, until we change that, right? So that's a big thing that we got to be careful about. I mean, I'd like to see Texas and Florida become one state. No.
They'd have a big say-so. They have like 70 electoral colleges when you combine them.
They lose 2 Senate seats.
Oh, they lose. That's true.
this-
That's really true.
Right.
And we're seeing right now how important those Senate seats
Yeah,
are.
and that's the big thing. The Senate seats is kind of like the easier one to get, and the Senate seats are what I see as the most unfair.
Yeah.
Right? In Congress, represented by how many people there are, the population, but in
Yep.
Senate, it's just by the state. So we represent a huge portion of the country, but yet we only got 2 seats in Senate.
Oh, you know why it's designed, though?
2 seats in Senate.
The whole design of that was because the southern states, after the Civil War, felt that of course, all the industry was in the north. All of the industry was in the north. So all the population base was in the north. So if you're carving districts out by population, the north, by the numbers, way outnumbered the south. And they knew that. That's what the 1/5 compromise was about. And that's why we have Senate seats, because they were terrified of the fact that their population was very small. And not only that, they had mass droves of people, not only African-American slaves at the time were moving up north, so were poor whites going into these industries, going to Ford Motor Company and all tire companies and all that. So that's why Senate, and it's an old relic
Democracy?
But, well, yeah, democracy. Yeah, it's an old relic. Those Senates are old relics, though. Do we need the Senate? Do you think that we can do enough just in the House? What do you think?
No, well, yeah. We're not going to change that.
No, I know that. No, I'm just saying, in a perfect world. In a perfect world. Look at
You're taking it all different places here. What you talking about? In a perfect world.
I mean, would you get rid of the Senate? Is what I'm saying.
Would I get rid of the Senate?
Would you think it would run better?
If we didn't have the Senate?
Yeah, none at all.
No,
No Senate.
I don't
Okay.
think it
All
would.
right.
I mean, the more pieces we have, the more balanced I think we can be right now, right? Because I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, right now you got the judicial system, which is just which I can't say just the judicial system, but the judicial system's interpreting the laws. This group is writing those laws, right? And you've seen how easy it is. It needs to be signed by the executive branch, which is one person, the presidency. And so if you have one group that can be weighed one way or the other, because with this two-party system in a sense, if it's heavy Democratic and you got a Democratic president, then it's going to take over. It's a lot harder. You see how hard it is right now, actually, to have that full takeover, even though it's even in the Senate, heavier on the in the House, and we have a Democratic president. It's still harder, right? It's still kind of hard with what we have in there, and it should be designed to be somewhat, in a sense, kind of hard to do certain things. But when the entire, it's like completely unfair right now in the representation that you see in the Senate. I mean, it's got to change. You can't. It's like with 3 times the size, of other places, 4 times, 5 times. There's got to be some kind of algorithm that says, okay, just to even it out a little bit, here you go. Whether it's tied to state and economy or whatever it is, it's got to be something.
Even the fact, even the two-party system that we have here, even that, if you go off of that, I mean, that's why a lot of more things get done in Europe, because there's a lot more different parties, there's a lot more different representation. Because someone that's a Democrat in, say, Los Angeles is a lot different than someone in rural Boston or Massachusetts. The Democrats there, right? It's different. There's so many different variables. The two-party system just doesn't really fit everybody's, and we're seeing that a lot, right? And this is, we're going to kind of talk about this at the end here with the situation that happened with Mitt Romney as well, and we'll have a video on that as well. But, there are infighting going on, not only in the Republican Party, but as well as the Democrat Party. Because right now, the future of this country is being dug out and entrenched right now as we speak. Right now, you got Donald Trump right now fighting. There's a big one in, I think it's in Texas, going on a Senate seat, a Republican that stepped down. So you got that going on. Actually, it's a congressional seat, but you got that going on, and then you got Trump. You got conservatives over here, and you got Republicans over here, and you got liberals and progressives. You understand what I'm saying? It's all this junk going on, and something's gonna give way, man. That's what it feels like to me. No.
No. There's always fighting. I think there's always fighting. I just love watching the Republican Party fight.
I do.
I'm actually scared, actually.
I'm
a little fearful of us going back to the last, previous 4 years in that administration, because, I had thought that people have learned and people are moving away.
Yeah.
I had thought that a lot of that power that was there before has kind of disappeared completely, because it is beautiful to see work actually getting done.
I agree.
And all the drama is kind of gone, and like you actually have to make drama happen right now. We gotta, read and read into stuff. I mean, work is getting done. We're working on this pandemic. We're doing things. I mean, it's amazing to see us move forward and get stuff done. And to know that there's still power there, at that the maggots, the Trump folks
That's
that
funny.
are.
He said
there.
maggots. That's funny. And I know you didn't even realize you said it. That's
Why?
hilarious.
Well, what's hilarious? Isn't that what they're called?
Maggots?
Make America Great Again, Trumpers, right?
What's the O?
No, M-A-G-A-T.
Oh,
Maggot.
MAGA. I thought you said
Yeah.
maggots.
No, maggot.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Maggot. Yeah.
I didn't know that was the name of it.
M-A-G-A-T, maggot.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought.
Well, and talking about let's actually talk about this remnants of this Trump. Trump has a big stranglehold on the Republican Party right now, and people are, as we speak right now, Liz Cheney is literally in a fight of her life. Actually, she's going to lose that leadership position. Liz Cheney will lose the leadership position, not only in the Republican Party as a whole, even within the state of, she's Wisconsin? What is she from? No, Wyoming. Wyoming, where her dad, Dick Cheney's from. So Donald Trump has a huge, he's very popular. He's very popular among the Republican base. I know, I hear you, man, but I'm just, hey.
What's wrong with
I don't
these
know.
folks? Please
What
call
is
in. I want to hear what you have to
is
say. It can't just
going
be all
on?
me and Steve talking down on it, because it really confuses me
Yeah.
how some people have been brainwashed and can't accept
Yeah.
that they fell into something like
Yeah.
something they cannot. I just the conspiracy theories and
Yeah.
all of those things are still there. We have
QAnon.
representatives in office doing those things, but I mean, this party is breaking up, right? I mean, they are trying to decide where they're going.
There's a battle going on. There's a fight going on. And there's people that are jockeying for spots. And in this next video we're going to show you is almost kind of something like this. This is a representative. His name's Don Wagner. He's a representative out in Orange County. He actually ran for Congress against the girl that I like that's against the banks out there. What is her name? I love her so much. And I can't think of her name right now. But anyway.
Katie Porter?
Katie Porter. Representative Katie Porter out of Orange County. Fantastic. If you don't know who Katie Porter is, go look her up. Fantastic.
You know who Katie Porter is.
If you watch the show, you better know who she is. We've had her on here, or we've talked about her plenty of times. But I want you to listen to this representative of Orange County talking to, I think he was the Orange County
Supervisor.
director of the vaccines for the county, actually for the entire Los Angeles. And he was in here talking to the Orange County rep, Don Wagner. You have to listen. This is a Trump loyalist, this guy. Loves Trump. I want you to take a listen to this.
That's correct.
Okay, and it's only at the patient's request.
That's correct.
Does it, is there any intention of tracking folks?
Nope.
Is there any in the vaccine, we heard about an injection of a tracking device. Is that being done anywhere? In Orange County?
I'm sorry, I just have to compose myself. There's not a vaccine with a tracking device embedded in it that I know of exists in the world. Period.
Anytime I see something like that,
What did you mean I have to compose myself? He doesn't seem like a person who gets all crazy, excited, and laugh or anything. He had to compose himself. That's how far off this comment was.
you know what I think? This is what I think of. Anytime I see something like this, because this is not the only place this has happened. It's happening all over the country.
No, it does.
All over the country.
They got him
it's
in
going.
Congress.
So you got people, doctors, virologists, all these different type of people that have to face this type of junk, right? It's insane how the QAnon has now seeped into our politics. We've talked about this plenty of times on
Yeah,
here.
but it's not. Yeah,
It's
when
seeped into our politics.
When the president, previous one, allowed someone who believes in what is it, demon sperm and all that stuff to come out and speak on COVID.
Yeah.
It's how outlandish it gets.
Yeah.
I mean, a virus? Come on. I mean, a chip? That's a microchip? And if you're worried about tracking and tracing, what phone are you carrying? Because it's doing it all for you already.
That's what I was going to get at.
Look, if you were smart enough to create a tracking chip that can be hidden inside of a vial of liquid that was frozen, first of all, frozen, right? Frozen, coming back in liquid, small enough to be injected and powered and used to send. I have a hard time getting reception where we are right now. And you're going to put a chip inside of a shot. If you're smart enough to do that, why put it in something as controversial as a COVID vaccine?
There you go.
Oh, flip your mind. They probably put it in Tylenol. Why not put it in something that's super simple that everybody is taking, right?
my God.
I mean, everyone gets headaches. People take headache medicine. Put it in there. If they're smart enough to create something like that, why is it not in those things? Why not on sunblock or
Why would they
something?
put it in a vaccine?
I know, in the vaccine that some people may or may not want to take. Oh my goodness. And people believe it. That's a problem. It's not just a joke. It's people believe it.
For him, and if
Believe it.
if you saw the rest of that, I mean, it was, I didn't put you guys through that torture. I watched that whole, he went crazy on that, by the way. He was talking about, I'm just asking because my constituencies want to know. They want to know. Listen, the only reason your constituency wants to know is because you have people like Donald Trump and his cronies spreading false conspiracy theories about the vaccine. telling me he ain't gonna take it until he's gonna die. As soon as he gonna die, he's all up in that, taking it. This is what I was gonna say earlier, is every time I see this kind of stuff, I think of the doctor that had to sit there, the female doctor, when he was talking about he was gonna put a remember that?
UV,
remember that?
Or inject the, what is it,
Whatever it was, the hydrochloroquine?
Yeah,
There was hydrochloroquine. He talked about it on that conference too,
yeah.
and the UV lights. Like they were going to have to ingest some type of UV, just crazy stuff. And I remember there's a YouTube video of a reporter that actually had a camera on her the whole time. Every time I hear that kind of stuff, I just think of that poor thing when she was up there. And I know because she's all over her hands were tied. She couldn't say nothing. And it was just, I always think of that because, like, these people are out of control.
Yeah.
They are out of control. And it's very dangerous when you have people in sitting positions like there, because it's not the fact that it's true or not, it's irrelevant to the people that are trying to pass these type of conspiracy theories, right? It's irrelevant. It's the fact that you have a sitting representative or a sitting congressional leader or senator or a president or whatever saying stuff like this.
But when you believe in something so strongly, and you were told that it's false, but you put so much and invested so much, it has to be hard to get out of. It's, I can compare it to playing poker. When you have so much invested in a hand, it's hard to quit. It's hard to fold. And a lot of these people who just went all out on Trump, all out on these conspiracy theories, all out on it. And now he lost. A lot of them were upset that he lost. Like, okay, now it has to be cheating. They'll believe anything. It's kind of like human nature for you to believe in these things when you are so all in on it. And that's what's happening. And that's what's so hard about us getting the vaccine out to people. There's so much disbelief in it, and I actually had a conversation with someone today, asking about, the amount of people who are getting vaccinated in business and so forth. And I'm seeing more people in healthcare actually getting vaccinated because the amount of people they see getting vaccinated and nothing actually happening puts a lot of falsities and starts to make all that conspiracy theory stuff look wrong.
Definitely.
And then they're able to get confidence and they can take it. I mean, the media really does have an effect on how we think. We all know that. Both sides of the table, of this argument
100%.
believe in that. And that's why the media should always kind of tell the truth, right? But the thing is that as they got to see that, they are able to believe in that the vaccine is not going to harm you and turn you into some zombie or something like that, and you're not going to be tracked, and you'll be okay. I mean, if it tracked you, we wouldn't need to have all this contact tracing monies go out to help find people who were infected or not. Give me a break.
I find this is really problematic when you have sitting officials doing this. Really, it is. You just don't realize, because there are people out there. There are tons. I was one of them. I was nervous at how fast this vaccine got to market. It had nothing to do with Trump. It had nothing to do with anything else. It was just me. If I didn't have a nurse practitioner wife saying, you need to stop it, this stuff can be done if there weren't all these hurdles. Yeah, there's stuff that can be done if they didn't, you know what I mean? If it wasn't for her, so it's not that I don't understand. It's when people like Wagner that knows better.
Should know better.
He should know better.
Right? I mean, he's a board supervisor. He shouldn't know anything, but he should know better than to create fear when there shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
Right? Trust your public health officials, the people that you have there, the people who do this every single day, and trust what they are doing. And if there is some kind of conspiracy or corruption, then call out the corruption when there's evidence that there is corruption. And there can be. Trust me, I believe that there's corruption in politics and pharmaceutical companies. 100%.
Yep.
Okay, I do. They're doing payouts and stuff like that. But for every public health official in the entire nation, the leaders of all these things conspiring together and not getting extra payment all across the board, when they're studying science and putting proof out there, go do the homework yourself. Don't look at the media. Go read the research papers. Go read all of those things that are not funded by the people that you don't like, and they will still say the same thing. But these guys don't do that. They're all in and they believe in what just someone says.
What someone is saying. There's a school in Florida, 380 people. It's a private school. 380 students in this school, and I don't know how many teachers, 40 some odd teachers in this school in Florida. The owner of the private school says that if the teachers have been vaccinated, they can no longer work in her school. she's an anti-vaxxer. This is what I'm talking about. When you do stuff like that, you have people like that who are vulnerable to believing these types of things, thinking that it's terrible. When you got people like Trump and all this talking about all this crazy crap, and then he made it worse by talking about hydroxychloroquine or whatever, and all these weird things that nobody was talking about except him. You know what I mean? I mean, that might have went across somebody's head. Hey, you know what kills the virus? UV light. He must have heard that. Whoa, you know, and then he thinks he's trying to get ahead of the scientist or whatever. But anyway, it's embarrassing.
I mean, there was a lot of conspiracy theories and saying, "Oh, hydroxychloroquine is the answer," right?
I remember that.
And you know, we stayed on the vaccine, and you have Moderna, you have Pfizer, you have AstraZeneca, you have Johnson & Johnson, and all the other the one-offs based on who's manufacturing it. But it's always been the same scenario. You know, watch. You know, be careful, social distant, wear a mask. And it's not 100%, so please be careful. You know, use your own judgment, but be careful, right? That's kind of been the thing until there's an approved vaccine to come out. But they've been fighting all this. No vaccine, use hydroxychloroquine. And then from hydroxychloroquine went to something else. The same conspiracy theorists are now saying it's ivermectin or methicin or something like that. Ivermectin, I can't say the word, is the drug that you have to take. Something that was actually used and checked and seen that it doesn't have some real good studies that it has an effect on the virus infecting you. So, but people take it and they get better, right? Well, if they didn't take it, they might have gotten better. They don't understand the clinical trial. So, I mean, it's going through the science.
You know, the big argument
But
here.
they changed. My point is,
they changed the science.
This one is this one is this one is this one. I mean, you're doing it yourself. You're doing exactly what you're accusing other folks of doing.
Yeah.
On the other side, I guess. I mean, there shouldn't be a side.
Yeah.
But you're accusing them. But you know what? We have stayed the same.
Yeah.
Distance, right? Socially distant. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated when it comes out, right? The message has been the same. It didn't change. No changes.
You know, this thing is from a lot of friends. I have a few friends that are they're just terrified of taking it, and I wasn't terrified. I'm just saying that I'm going to wait a month. Remember, I told you about that, right? I'm not embarrassed to say it. I was like, oh, let me go on and check. It wasn't that I wasn't going to take it. I was just making sure people weren't going to drop dead. That's all. And so I waited a little month, and my wife was on me on this one, and she's like, no, you taking this, man? You taking it? So I mean,
but we do. Look, Camille and myself, we talked. I mean, we understand what it is. I mean, you have to gain trust, and trust isn't in this world just given.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we do it a lot based on identity. Like, oh, I got a doctor's license, so you trust them because they're a doctor. You still got to kind of earn that trust and see how long they've been a doctor, whatever it is. Look their history up if that's who you want to choose and figure things out. But yeah, this is a big thing. People are dying. People are dropping. This new vaccine comes out. It's for a new sickness, yet you know it can't be fully tested. You're questioning a lot of stuff, and you're hearing a lot of different things. So you got to earn people's trust. So, we give that. But then the folks who do the research or have seen how things are getting done and understand the dynamics of the damage that can happen if we don't do something. And so we you go and do it. First responders know the risk of getting sick by treating folks. At the same time, you know the risk of taking something that's been approved as a emergency use. And you start to look at, research that, and then you have to trust the process. You move with it, and then other folks come in.
So understand that, in all this, this is just part of the big fight that's going on, right? Because that's part of it too. The anti-vaxxers, we have all these issues, the DC statehood, that's really more Republican, Democrat type thing.
Really extreme folks out there right now.
There is some extreme.
And, there was extreme folks. We have extreme, things in our party.
We do.
But there are some really extreme ones where the ideas are just woo, I think. Yeah. And I can't believe the power that they have and what they're going at it right now.
You see it everywhere. You see it and a lot of this has to do with to me, in my opinion, was the election of Donald Trump, because
brainwashing.
Well, what he did was he normalized a lot of stuff that we used to laugh at.
Yeah.
Right? Things that were not normal, or there was every time he was a president, there was some type of etiquette to it, right? Some type of the way you did, the demeanor, the way you held yourself, what you said, the way you talk. You weren't. Trump just said, "I'm president of Republicans or conservatives or whatever."
Yeah.
I don't care about California. California was
Listen,
on
I'm
fire.
president
remember?
of all of you, but I'm only going to talk with Republicans.
That's it. I'm going to only deal
all
with
that
them. I'm going to
matters.
only give them relief. You saw it in the relief funding when he
says
did
it.
for Texas and Florida and California when they had their forest fires out here. You see it all the time where this weird hardcore partisan stuff is getting to the point to where it is starting to be scary. And because now, if you guys, a lot of the stalwarts of the old party, right? I like to call it the stalwart of the old party. I can't believe it because I was alive during this. I'm thinking of Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, Powell, Rice, all of the old, that me and you grew up with, because that's our age, right? We grew up with that Republican Party. No matter what you thought about that Republican Party, one thing I knew about like Dick Cheney, I knew he's money hungry and all that. He was an American first. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they didn't really part ways on that, especially even Bush. Bush never looked down at immigrants. He liked immigrants. He was a governor of Texas. You know what I mean? He knew the value of immigration and what it was doing and helping his state. But these new Republican Party that's happening here, I know, that's fun. I know where you're going. I'll leave it alone as well. I'm not going there. That's a whole different show on that one.
Yeah.
So,
But I get what you're saying.
yeah, you see what I'm saying, right? So let's talk about some of the stalwarts. Right now, as we speak, Liz Cheney she's already been censored by the Republican Party, and she's now being, they're voting on removing her from leadership position. Right, and it's not even. She's going to lose this time. This is the third attempt. The first two failed. This is the last. They're doing it again, and it seems as though this one's going to actually go through, and she's actually going to be removed. That only leaves really one Republican out there, right? That pretty much just leaves Mitt Romney out of Utah.
Right.
That state, the Republican Party within Utah, is considered to be a little bit different because remember, normal Republicans are evangelicals. Utah is Mormon. Right? They're still Republican, but it's for a different reason. The same reason we say a Democrat in LA is a whole lot different than someone Democrat from Massachusetts or Connecticut, right? Two different things.
And I totally thought that with this split and with Senate being 50-50 in a sense that Mitt Romney is going to be the one with the power on that side. That he's
That's
going to
what
have
I
that
thought.
power. And by the time we get into the 4 years or the 3 years, he's going to have built that power because he's the one who's been able to talk with, on both sides of the aisle. I just did not imagine,
this.
it was, going to be like the way that it is today already. And I have a feeling that this is going to last throughout this entire term.
Trump is, he is rooting out everyone, even the powerful. I mean, Liz Cheney is part of the Dick Cheney. Let me tell you something. Not only do they have political clout, they have financial clout as well. They're worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Sounds evil to me, but yeah.
It sounds, I'm just saying, let's be honest. Republicans are basically, a corporate entity is what it is. It's a corporate empire, right? But Mitt Romney's a prime example, right? He's a CEO of a major corporation. I mean, the ones that are able to withstand this are now being pushed out, which I thought was going to be the opposite, what you was just mentioning. I thought Trump was going to leave. He was, the Mitt Romneys, the Liz Cheneys, all these flex out of, my man out of Arizona, that Flack or whatever his name was, that left, and now Sinema took a spot. I thought they were going to be able to take over the party, bring back old conservative fiscal type of, the way they, no tax or that. Nope. That is not what's happening. And you were talking about a virus that it's infestation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How long is it going to take for the brainwashing to disappear?
It seems like it's getting worse.
I mean, what happens?
You got to take a look at this because Mitt Romney is at a GOP convention in Utah, okay? Utah, Mitt Romney is extremely popular. I mean, Mitt Romney is technically born in Mexico, by the way, in case you guys didn't know that. Mitt Romney's family's all from Mexico, but he's from Massachusetts. In fact, the ACA was his design, just so y'all know.
A little bit of it, yeah.
A little bit of it.
Based off of what he was doing,
that design. That was the original concept of it. Went to Utah because he's a Mormon. He's always been a Mormon. His family's very popular Mormon.
Should be like
Donates a lot of money.
hometown.
Yeah. He's popular.
Should be hometown.
Hometown. Look at how they treated him at the GOP convention in Utah. Take a listen.
Now, you know me as a person who says what he thinks, and I don't hide the fact that I wasn't a fan of our last president's character issues. And I'm also no fan. Aren't you embarrassed? And I'm also no fan of the president's. Yeah, sure.
My friends, this is the moment I was talking about. Please, thank you, show respect.
Thanks, Jack.
I'm floored by that. I really am, because that, let me tell you something. Mitt Romney doesn't get booed in Utah. He doesn't, ever. Even when he was at the point when he was against Trump, when he got elected as senator, remember he was midway through, he almost got picked for some pretty big positions within the Trump administration, remember that? He was never booed, ever, never like that. That infestation has now worked its way into Utah, the Utah constituency, to the point to where Mitt Romney got booed at home. That's crazy. I don't care who you are.
I mean,
You
what's
just don't.
going on?
I don't know, man.
What is going on? I mean, what made me proud was to hear the amount of cheers
Yes.
that came afterwards. Like, thank you for bringing civility to some of these,
Yep.
you know, hoodlums and, you know, folks who are screaming and yelling the wrong way. So I have no idea. I didn't go to the convention. I have no images of it. I don't know what's going on. And hopefully none of you went to the convention. But if you got some cousins or family members that went,
Let us know.
Yeah, it'd be good to know how that feeling was. It's like, was that a bunch of people in the front that were just going crazy and heckling, and it, on the video, it sounded like a ton of folks? Or was it really like half the crowd or a majority of the crowd? Because, you know, I mean, that's the thing. These folks have learned to get loud and scream, and that seems the way that we're doing things today. And kind of understandable, because that's how change happens. But, I mean, I just, you know, I'm
It's crazy.
flabbergasted at, like,
It's crazy.
I've always said, if wearing a mask has been your biggest issue in civil rights, man, you got a good life. If you wake up, oh, they're taking my mask away. I mean, my ability to talk and show my teeth for a couple of months or even a year, because, you know, it's in a lot of places the masks mandated, they're lifting and they're going away to show you it wasn't about taking away your rights. That's not what it was, right? I mean, it's going away. It was about keeping you healthy. And that's the thing. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. You guys, please call in, tell us what you think. Right, 559-494-2827. But come on, what do you think? I mean, where are we going? Where's the GOP going after this?
I don't know, man. But you know what? We had, you know, California had its little convention this week.
Yes.
We had our little, so if you were a delegate this week, you voted on the direction of the party here in the state of California. Some of the things that they were going to go after, some of the things that they were going to. There was some stuff going on there as well. So, and I'm talking, there's some fighting going on there as well, but I think it's a lot different than that. Because I don't think if we had a convention, anybody would be booing like that. I mean, there was a lot of fighting going on this weekend as well.
Right.
So there was a lot of that going on. I mean, there was a lot of conventions all over the country, actually. Like, you know, and it was the first time, the one I've ever participated. Actually, no, I didn't participate
on the floor votes
on the
and
actual
stuff.
floor votes. I did it when you were running for Congress. That was a cool experience, because you got to go in there. I got to meet Maxine Waters. I got to meet Ted Lieu. Love both of them. They were cool too. So I mean, that the part of it was today, the one we did was all Zoom. So, you know, you had to vote on Zoom, and boy, that was a Democrat. Come on now, California, y'all got to get that mess together. I don't know who, because they contracted that out. I don't know who's your contractor, but he don't need to do that again.
What, thousands and thousands of people on Zoom?
It wasn't a Zoom, but it was they
You know what I
used
mean.
Zoom. Yeah, but
You know what I mean.
It was crazy, man.
It's a mess. It
Yeah, it was
doesn't
a
happen
mess.
that way.
But that's what I said too. I said that it was, you know, it's kind of funny, because me and my wife were in there voting. Who you voting for? What you voting at? We over there cheating. Cheating. Oh, man.
Yeah,
And so I guess, you know.
There's a struggle, but I mean, just to have the hatred for somebody like what they did, you know, it's coming from a perspective. I feel that it's coming from perspective from every single one of those folks that I heard yelling. I'm like, okay, maybe it's stereotyping, but I feel like they're all the anti-vaxxers. They're all the conspiracy theorists. They're all the one that think, you know, that there's this other person that's doing stuff and everything's happening and it's a big conspiracy theory for Big Brother to come in and wipe some stuff out and to, you know, turn us all into, you know, zombies and brainwash us all. And man, they believe in some smart people exist.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? It ain't like the kind of people you would think. And it's really, right now from what I'm seeing, I mean, it's educators, I mean, like college professors, sitting politicians.
The scary part is they're teachers.
Yes.
Teachers teaching your children at school.
Yes.
Right?
There was this, to me, that's scary because this is beyond the point of you just thinking something. Listen, the government ain't out to get you, but the government's out to get you, right? That's what my dad used to always say. Government ain't out to get you, but they out to get you.
Right, right. I mean, there's the whole thing of, you know, make sure you do everything right.
Just make sure you do
because if they're
everything
doing
right.
bad stuff, they're gonna get in trouble. So you know, try to do what you can, you know, and do it right.
Yeah.
But the difference is when you start to believe in it so much that you base all of your life's decisions on it when it won't make a difference, right? And that you can actually speak out on it. I saw a video. You and I haven't talked about this before yet, about a police officer or sheriff, LASD, I forget where they're from, where he pulled over a woman for using her phone, and she, you know, the video starts off with her talking about, oh, I wasn't speeding. He says, I'm not, and she starts calling him a Mexican rapist, calling him a
I
murderer,
saw that. Yes, I saw
murderer,
that.
and to call, you know, your
saw that.
supervisor to come in and. Who is going to yell and say that to a police officer or law enforcement in their car? Call him. It's one thing to say, you shouldn't have pulled me over, or it's my right not to give you my license. You know how we see people like kind of, you know, fight for the constitutional rights? But just outright sit there and call them a rapist and, you know, derogatory names.
You know what, though? Here's the crazy thing about that video. That I know you're going to make a point here, but real quick. She posted that video herself because she really thought she was in the right.
And I don't know if she's a teacher, but she says she's a teacher.
Oh,
That's, you know,
well, I must have
that's
missed
a
that part.
teacher.
I missed that
She says,
part.
I'm a teacher. I'm like, so what is she teaching her kids?
yep.
Right? Her students. I mean, you know, she had even a kid in the car, but that's what she said on the video. I didn't see it, but come on. How can you start to believe in life so much that you're going to do this when they pull you over? My lesson, we talked about the talk. Hands up.
Hands up.
Can I reach for the glove compartment? It's going over. Officer, let me know. You know, come on. As soon as they don't, why'd you pull me over? You're a murderer. You're a murderer. You're gonna murder me, my child. That's what she said. You're gonna murder me, my child. Like coming off with accusations that way. And she might not have been that way 5 years ago.
But she may have believed that 5 years ago, but may have not been as vocal. That's what I feel. And what I think what we're seeing here is this openness of ignorance.
She will never be white. I always had to show that video now because we brought it up. But
I actually saw the video this weekend. Yeah, I saw
I
that.
was just blown away when
Yeah.
I saw that video.
Yeah, it's
How did we get here?
Yep.
And actually, we know how. It was like, how do we get out of here now? You know, how do we make sure that these folks can stop thinking about it? You know, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think Vic Marcel. Oh, what's up, Vic? Vic, my boy out there. He's from Ohio. Actually, I think he lives in Georgia now. Marine buddy of mine, police officer out in the beautiful, rich town of good something. What's Vic? He said that the House Senate creates balances, checks and balances. I believe that too. I just don't like the way it's allocated.
Right. I mean, and it's kind of what I said, right?
Yeah.
The checks and balance and the way of authority, but it's kind of
It's allocated.
it's not balanced so well in the Senate no more.
So, here's the thing, right? The idea, especially when we're talking about the Senate, the idea here is you got to give small states a voice too, right? Mm-hmm. They can have a voice, but it shouldn't be just equal, because if you got a majority of the people, I mean, And the big argument is, because they always say the argument of that is, well, the majority of the people believed in slavery, and or they believed in, whatever, back, we had to change that as well. So there was a minority that believed that. So that, somewhat that's an argument that you could give, but you still have to understand that the state of Wyoming, in comparison to the state of California, I don't know what the electoral votes is in Wyoming. What, maybe 4?
4, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
To ours.
Very small state. I mean, shit, we probably got 4 here in Fresno. We probably got 4 in Fresno. At least Fresno County. Ooh, man, I don't know.
That's the thing. So, Congress is set up one way to give that equal representation that way. But, it's still so skewed. The difference is so skewed when you talk about Wisconsin getting 2 and California getting 2.
Yeah.
Right? And so, the smaller states, the smaller populations will still have a voice. It should be somewhat equitable in the way things are happening. And in those roundtables, in the congressional hearings, and when they're casting their votes and doing their things, in all those bills, all of those things should be heard, because everywhere is treated differently, and they always write them in, and that's where they have their work to do to make sure that their area, the state that they represent, or the area they represent, is treated fairly in all the things that are federal, right? And that's their job, and that's what they have to work to do. But gosh darn it,
yeah, I think
really skewed.
We need to start figuring some of this stuff out, because we are there's a crossing roads going on here. There's a political crossing roads. It reminds me a lot of there was a lot of political. You had the Whigs that turned into the Republicans that turned into, Democrats, Southern Republicans turning into Dixiecrats, and then you had the Southern Strategy. All of them were splits, right? And I see that going on right now. There's a major thing going on, not just in Republican. We talked about it a little while ago. Not just on the Republican side, but on the Democrat side as well. I don't know if there needs to be more representation, as in the splitting of parties. But I tell you right now, the way our electoral system works, the way our politicians are funded, if you don't get rid of Citizens United, it's going to be a two-party system to the end of time.
Yeah, money needs to come out of politics.
Yeah.
And that's something I think that's kind of seen across the aisle.
Yeah.
When we talk about the split, you got your Democrats, the liberals, progressives, right? And you got both entities, you got your corporate folks, and so you got for the progressives, for Democrats, it's kind of like the libertarians on the Republican side, on the conservative side.
Yeah.
And the one thing I think that I see them all agree together on is that corporate structure needs to fall out. Corporate money needs to fall out of the politics, because they're controlling too much.
It's kind of weird, because both sides, if you talk to, if you sit down and talk to a Republican, you'll be really surprised that you guys have very little differences when it comes down to it. I have a neighbor of mine that probably watching the show right now, but me and him, he's a Republican. He ain't a Trump Republican, but he's a Republican. And when we have the kitchen talk, I come over, or I go over his house, and we have these conversations. I'm thinking, and me and him, we've had this conversation. We're like, there ain't that much difference in what we want, what you want. There is very little difference.
Right.
We may agree a little bit on corporation and spending of government money a little bit. And even that's not that big of a difference. Their big argument is welfare, the welfare system or what. But he believes we should have safety nets. I told him that is welfare. But he calls it safety nets. They call it wording, right?
No, but it is safety net. That's
what I said.
I know.
That is
But
welfare.
the argument always comes to, well, the people are cheating and people are doing all that stuff. Yeah, I know. People cheat on the rich side. And you want to talk economics? On the rich side, on the corporate side, they cheat the country out way more money.
Hiding their money
than on the safety net side.
That's right, hiding money.
You could take the entire money, put in the safety net, the corporations cheat the country out more than that.
Do you know Amazon, right? Amazon, this is a very common talk, right? Everybody knows that Amazon pays very little taxes or none at all. Okay? Amazon, everywhere I go, in an Amazon facility, there's a road that connects to it, and they have an electrical grid that goes to it. And I'm pretty sure there's a sewer system there. Everybody within that community is paying for that.
Except for them.
except for them.
I mean, and they won't even put our stuff on Prime. I'm just joking.
I want that $19.99 off. Oh man, today the YouTube Premium turned off today on mine. I guess I forgot to pay the bill there. Boy, my kids were calling me from all over the country. Hey, the YouTube ain't working. Turn on that YouTube Pro. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on. You know, thank you, Steve, for putting this together.
Yeah,
I just
definitely.
kind of came in here like, what are we talking about today?
Yeah,
What are we talking
yeah.
about? Hopefully we get there. But it
Hey,
looks
you act
we
like
can
you
talk
got a
about
company to
everything.
run, man.
You know,
He acts like he got a
It's
company to
nothing.
run.
we got nothing to do. But hey, thank you very much for watching the show. You know, you can always call in, chime in. You can comment still. If you're watching this after we are live, you can still comment. We'll try to catch you on the next time. I do want to give a shout out to what do I got on my screen, to Tony and Jose. Thank you very much for tuning in, and all of you that were there watching and coming in and coming out of it. You know, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Of course, we are filming here at Mad Talk TV studios out here in Fresno, California. I'm excited. We've been here for, how long have we been doing this? We've been doing this for a
I don't know,
minute.
now it feels like forever.
Doesn't it feel like
I think
forever?
We're getting a little bit better, though.
Yeah,
You
we're
know?
learning. We're getting
We
better.
didn't go to
and
college for this stuff. Not for talking and everything, right?
Anyway, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Steve and Bobby Show here at Mad Talk TV studios here in Fresno. Make sure you guys tune into the Hip Hop Scene, which comes on every Thursday live.
Thursday live.
Here, all local hip hop guys out here. So if you guys are in that scene, they have some really good artists on there. So make sure you guys tune into that. So shout out to Ruby and the stuff she got going on over there. So I appreciate you guys for watching the Steve and Bobby Show. I'll catch you guys on the other side. Peace out.